Hi Lexi, I'm Janelle with Toons Unlimited, and I'm going to see if I can answer your question real quick. So, um, you basically, well, thank you for the purchase. You basically have the conveyor belt and you've set it to move, and you want the toys to move down with the conveyor belt. So the issue is, it's nothing you're doing wrong. When you link an object to an item, if the item is physically moving, then the object moves with you. The prop itself is not moving, it's standing still. It's an animated prop, so therefore that's why when you link it, it's not doing anything. So if you had a link and you physically move it, it will move, but because it's sitting still and inside the prop is movement, it's not going anywhere. So to help you understand how to animate it, I grabbed I'll grab a few items, and I'm not 100% sure how your animation is going, but I can give you a good example. So on one side, we'll grab a few presents. And I'll shrink them all about the same size. Make sure they're all on 0 so that they be on the conveyor belt. But I'm going to shrink them all to be a fairly decent size. Once again, make sure this is on 0 so that when I put it on my conveyor belt, it sits right in front. Now, if the goal is to have the toys go on one end, have the gifts come on another, I'll show you a simple trick that I'll use. We're going to put the gifts inside the wrapper 3000. Actually, let me just make this a little invisible so we can see through it. About right there. So we're going to take all the gifts. Let me bring up the scene manager real quick. But somehow the scene manager got undocked. Okay, so we have the first present. I'm going to move it about right here, right out of the camera view. Then present number 2, about right here. And then present number 3, about right here. Now, each conveyor belt, if you look at the line right here, it takes roughly 3 seconds from it to go from the top to the bottom. Since we have 2 conveyor belts here, we're going to give it about 6.5 or 7 seconds. And then right here, we have one more conveyor belt, and we'll give it roughly 3 or 4 seconds. So if you're animating with 24 frames per second, and you're going to do 7 seconds, you do 24 times 7, and you need to take it 168 frames. So we're going to start off with your oh, I already got animation on this. We're going to start off with your robot, duck, and the plane. I'm going to highlight them all. Excuse me. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just go ahead and speed it up to 168 frames. And by then, I want all of these to be inside of the wrapper. And for the presents, I want them, let's see here. So this is about 3 seconds, another 3 seconds. So if we kept at that same pace, so about 258 frames in is when our presents should start to spill out. So for each one of the presents, you would have to create a keyframe. So we're going to go to the transform tool, and we want them to sit still from frame 1 to frame 258. And I'm just going to grab the rest of them real quick and do the same thing. Okay, so we got them all set there, and we want them to be in 90 frames at the end, which on our screen is just going to show it continuously going. You won't see where the presents go. So we're going to go 90 frames past 258. That will put us at 348. So let's scroll down to 348. And let's grab our presents. And I am going to push this guy all the way through. And let's just see how everything looks. Okay, so my timing was definitely significantly off. You want them to go much faster than that. So we're going to look at when the toys get inside. And they are in about right here. We'll say 165. So really, 165 is when I need to make my presents move. So we have present 1, 2, and 3. We need to slide up to 165. Actually, we want to slide the entire animation of that. So from here to here for each one of these. And I would like to slide them down to 165. I'm going to try one more time and see how everything goes. And it's not bad. I think the presents go out a little bit too fast compared to how fast they were going in. So it's a timing thing. You can scroll it down to 265 and give it just a few more frames and see if it's a little bit more smoother. But now that we pretty much have the animation the way we want to, let's go ahead and make this 100% visible again. And let's go into camera mode. And that's pretty, this is probably a pretty good shot. You can't see when the toys start, but you will see them come down. So let's play it out. And that's pretty good. And you could have a whole slew of toys and the same concept will apply. And if, say for example, you say, well, let me go back. Let's just say you had about 8 toys here and you say, hey, well, when I slide them, they all won't fit in. Here's what you would do. You would still do the same motion, have the last toy make it inside. And let's say as they slowly get right here, you would go to that item and then you would set the opacity to 0. So what you would need to do is go on your timeline, and I'm just going to close these out so it's not confusing. You only see one. So you're going to your timeline, and let's grab the rubber ducky. Right here, there's the opacity, and you see at frame 122, he's officially inside. So what you would need to do is scroll down to 122. You want a frame right before, because you want that at 100%, but you want that frame at 122 to then be at 0. So then you can hit the duck and you can tell it to go to 0. So now it doesn't matter whether the items fall all the way over here or not. The minute it gets in there, it goes invisible. You won't see it. Same thing, you scroll down to when the robot goes in, and about right here, you would select the robot. Once again, you want to hit opacity. At the frame before, let it be 100%, but at the next frame, go back, select the robot. You can either do right here, make it instantly disappear, or you can just set the opacity to 0. So it doesn't matter how many items you have in there, you can still make them all work. The same can apply for the gifts. They all can sit inside the wrapper. You may have some of them that spill out onto this side. Keep them invisible as they go in. Slowly make them visible, and you'll see them come out smoothly. And last, to make it really work, if you have the sound of a conveyor belt, I actually, at one point in time, when I created the characters, when I created the prop, I had the conveyor belt sound attached to it, but the application would not allow it to play without it making a strange noise after a few seconds. So to help you out, if you don't have the sound of a conveyor belt, I will send you the file along with this video. And what you can do is, let me see if I can find it real quick. Okay, so here's the sound for the conveyor belt. I would recommend not putting it inside of the application. Like I said, after a few seconds, at least with CTA2, it made a weird noise. You can either apply it as a, you can apply it in your video editor. So that's a good sound there. Another option is, let me see here, I thought I had 2. Nope, it's just one of us slowing down. And of course, to seal the deal, I have the conveyor belts going, but you will also want the wrapper 3000 going. And that should do it. So hopefully this helps um, with your animation, but that's basically what you will want to happen. And again, when you go into record mode, stage mode, this is all that will be seen. So hope it helps you out. Take care.